Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Eric Mader with Ahead, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with John Bottega. He is the president at EDM Council. John, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Obviously, within organizations, data has been a hot topic the last few years, right? It's becoming an increasing topic with a lot of different interests and a lot of different, subject matter expertise. So, as data grows within organizations, the role obviously of CDO is also becoming more and more important within those organizations. In your view, how are executive teams, approaching data in general today versus maybe how they, approached it in years past?
An interesting question, Eric. It's I would say it's dramatically different. I've had the opportunity in my career to watch this role grow. Having been a technologist initially and then moving into the data space. When I think about my role as a chief data officer back in 2006, so different than today. Yeah. And I think it's largely due to the scope of responsibility and the things that can be impacted. So, in general, I'd say firms look at their data now, not just simply as a technical issue, but they look at it from the perspective of, I'll say, follow the supply chain of information. Where is the data coming from? Is it coming from a trusted source? Then once acquired, how do you curate that data? How do you make sure it's clean, it's correct, and maintained and updated so it's valuable? Because in many cases, data has a shelf life, right? Depending on what thing you're looking at. A huge issue nowadays, of course, is protection of that data and the concerns around privacy, right? So the good side of having all of this data coming from our cell phones and where we walk and what we do, it gives you more opportunity, but it also exposes that information. So, being responsible and accountable for that information that you're gleaning from the public or from a customer, you have a responsibility now as a data professional to protect it and to make sure it's properly protected from a privacy perspective. And then a lot of it today is about its ethical use. The application of the data into, we have now advanced analytic engines, artificial intelligence, machine learning, natural language processing, and so forth. Ways to glean information from photographs, from satellite, and all of this. Again, huge opportunity to discover. But the other side of the coin is, are you doing it ethically, appropriately, and fit for purpose? And I think the difference today than years ago, it was kind of a throw it over the wall, the technology, and let them figure everything out. I think nowadays it's recognized that this is a business function. And it has to be looked at from that perspective, from cradle to grave, where's the data coming from and how to be used.
Yeah, and what you're describing really does involve, obviously a lot of alignment within the organization. It's not just, a bunch of fiefdoms that are operating sort of independently. How can a modern CDO, from your perspective, ensure that they have that sort of organization alignment across really all of the areas that they serve?
Yeah, there's probably a dozen answers to this, but I'm gonna focus it on culture. It takes a village, right? Everybody now has an ability, which is dangerous, to touch data, right? To manipulate it, to change it inappropriately or appropriately. So there's got to be an awareness from the brick and mortar to the back office on what is good best practice in managing this asset. And that's not something, you can write policies all day long, but you have to instill that in the culture of the organization. People have to take accountability and responsibility for that. And that's a way to align your businesses because, this information used in this area could be used in this area. The business have to understand the interdependency they have now within an organization. If I make a change here, it affects that. It used to be, years ago, and it was one of the challenges of being one of the first CDOs, trying to identify the benefit of data that's now 5 steps removed downstream No one knows where it came from, how's it being used, that kind of thing. Now we all have to be accountable for that. So it's really instilling that culture. And parallel to that, of course, is data literacy, right? Teaching people, for lack of a better term, training, teaching, whatever, an awareness of what data management is involved in. And you think about most companies today, people go through training classes for cybersecurity and things like that. More and more, you're seeing organizations now training their core employees these data management skills, if you will, because like I said, everybody has a chance of touching and implementing and impacting data.